When you think of the Analytical Writing Assessment section on the GRE, first think of whether it is an important section. If you plan to apply to the top 100 programs, the Analytical Writing Assessment, also called the AWA, and no, it is not AWA, it is AWA, is very important for the top 100 because the percentile that you get on the AWA section is an important contributor to your overall score weightage. In fact, universities like Georgia Tech have an AWA cutoff stated on their program page. So, if your aspirations are high, a good AWA score, at least a 3.5 is desirable. 3.5 out of 6, is that too difficult? Let's see if it is really so difficult. How do you approach the AWA? That depends a lot on how much do you understand what is the AWA about. The Analytical Writing Assessment on the GRE has two tasks: the analysis of an issue and the analysis of an argument. The first task is more of a descriptive than an analytical task, while the second is a completely analytical task. Let me explain. The analysis of an issue task expects you to state a position and elaborate upon it, which means your narrative skills are as important as your ability to be articulate. So then, why is it called analytical writing? Simple. It expects you to anticipate counter arguments to your position and inculcate them in your explanation when you are writing or responding to your analysis of an issue task. So, how do you approach the AWA? My suggestion is take a formal 5-step approach in this order. Step 1. Understand the directions and the topic. Many of us develop a belief that contradicting the given statement is easier than finding reasons to support when attempting an analysis of an issue. That too, when the second AWA task clearly wants you to critically analyze the given argument, we overall develop a myth that criticism is easier than support. But an always disagree approach might not be tenable. So, it is better to first think of both the pros and the cons of the given topic when analyzing an issue. For an argument, you might want to simply target the flaws of the argument, which can then be rephrased as assumptions or as what further information do you need to evaluate the given recommendation. Step 2. Organize. Keep a standard structure in your mind before you start writing. Usually, the first paragraph introduces the topic, and in the first paragraph, do not try to be flowery. At times, you might find something, an anecdote, a joke, an adage, a proverb to introduce the topic. Other times, you might simply introduce the topic and state your position. The first paragraph is followed by a few paragraphs explaining your reasons one by one, and I repeat, one reason per paragraph. Conclude with a smart summary of the topic if you can, else just conclude in a simple manner. In analysis of an argument, you might want to conclude by suggesting how could the given argument be made a more logically valid or a tenable one. Step 3. Do not compromise quality for quantity. Never fret over the length of the writer. Usually 300 words is a very competitive writer, and with the time at disposal, 300 words should not be a difficult task. Think of the most important reasons and elaborate well. 3 paragraphs of 12 lines make a better impression of your thought process than 6 paragraphs of 6 lines each, because they want to see The people who evaluate your write-up, they want to see how well do you elaborate your position, not how many things can you list out. Step 4. Always proofread your write-up before submitting. A write-up with avoidable or childish spelling and grammar mistakes will cost you significantly, which in my opinion is very unfair, because you have worked really hard on the content to take your grade higher, but you are losing on something as trivial as avoidable as a spelling or grammar mistake. It is a matter of practice, or I should say it's a matter of diligence. Give yourself the last 5 to 7 minutes to proofread your entire write-up and correct any and all mistakes that you might have made. Step 5. Remember this: an AWA is neither a test of your vocabulary nor of your writing expertise. Avoid using too many highfalutin words. I know you've learned your vocabulary on GRE. Your AWA is no place to throw around that vocabulary unless you know how to use these words. And second, avoid writing very long sentences, because the longer the sentence, the greater the chance of a grammatical error. And you can always go back and correct these vocabulary errors, these grammar errors when you are proofreading. Don't worry about all these things when you are writing. When you type, you simply type. You don't think a lot, you don't correct, because you will keep that time at the end for correction. So overall, keep your explanation simple, short, and make sure you explain your points as if you would explain to an 8-year-old. With these points, I am sure you will find it easier to work those 30 minutes per topic to get the maximum out of it. Work, practice, I am sure you will become perfect. Good luck.